Hi, how's it going? And good morning to you. This is resident of Collingwood for YouTube, resident underslash of underslash Collingwood for BitShoot. And I'm here to do two videos. My first video is about Billie from Black Christmas. It's entitled, Is Billie a Transvestite? I think so, yes. And to get into why I think that, number one, Billie. Now, to be able to go into a woman's voice isn't hard for some, but Billie is able to go into a woman's voice or a man's voice. The girls in the movie even say it sounds like a woman. I think why Billie is a transvestite, in my opinion, Billie keeps saying one key thing for me. It's me, Billie. And he mentions his mother too. Back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, parents were real nitpicky to what type of child they wanted. And what I mean by that is the sex of the child. So let's say some woman had a boy and they wanted a girl. They would often express their feelings to the child and through the child in many ways. They would be very abusive to the child, and to the point of just extreme. Billie, though he is a killer, was a victim first, I believe. I think Billie was a victim of his mother, his own mother. I do believe Billie had some sort of black market surgery to... Now, does he fully look like a woman? No, I don't. I don't think he fully looks like a woman. In fact, I think the surgery probably didn't go as well as the mother intended. And once that happened, I think whatever, Billie lost it. In fact, I dare say the first person Billie probably did murder was his own mother, and showed her, Mom, it's me, it's Billie. And he says that too. He says, it's me, Billie. I think he's telling that to not just his victims, but himself. That's his only identity left, is his name. Billie may have been born a man, but his mother did not want a son. It's crazy to think that, right? It's crazy to think that a parent wouldn't want a certain sex. But unfortunately, that can be the case. And it's often, especially back then, especially too often, that the child receives the blunt end of it, if you know what I mean. So I do believe Billie is a transvestite, and often the way he or she kills, it's not brute force, not really. He strangles a woman with plastic, and the one woman, he throws a hook at her and hoists her up. So here's the thing. He's not, to me, these aren't brute force kills. These aren't, where Michael Myers shows brute force, and to me, brute force is just grabbing somebody by the head and squeezing them, or just lifting them up with one hand, not throwing a hook at them and lifting them up by the chain. That's just simple. He's just bam, bam. Now he or she has interesting fits of rage where he's pushing on the dead bodies. Again, I think he's not in his right frame of mind at all. Now, is he a smarter killer than maybe perceived? I don't think he's so far gone he doesn't know what he's doing. Because, again, there's only one killer I would make that defense for, and that would probably maybe be Pamela. Pamela was gone. But love Pamela Voorhees. But I do think Billie from Black Christmas was a transvestite in many, many ways. Now, many people are going to point to the rape. They say a woman was raped, but in all honesty, they only mention that, I think, one time throughout the movie, and that's it. So I'm sort of, I think once or twice, but could he have raped them? Here's the thing, he doesn't really rape the two women. When the first two women he kills in house, he doesn't really rape them. He just kills them and they're there. He pushes on them, but he's not raping them. So I often think the rape is a plot device to throw the audience off in this movie. I really do. I think the suggestion of the word rape is just something by the producers and directors that they're trying to throw you off its trail. And really, they do a good job with this. In many ways, Black Christmas is a whodunit. All you know is the killer's name. That's it. That's all you know is the killer's name, Billie. Well, there's a lot of Billies in the world. So, and you notice the cops in this movie, they're not dumb. They're very smart, in every way, but they're focused on somebody. They have a suspect in mind, and that's their suspect in mind is the pregnant girl's boyfriend. And I often thought, when watching this, I'm going, man, you really should not be drawing up that conclusion. Now, in their defense, he is somewhat of a perfect candidate. He has fits of rage because he is a struggling musician who's trying to get his degree. He's not successful. His girlfriend is pregnant and she does not want to keep the child. He does. And they fight. Are they in love? I think there was a moment of passion between these two, and he somewhat loves her, and I think she did love him, but I don't think she loves him. I think they just got it on, and I think she cares for him. There's a difference between caring for somebody and being in love with them. And I think it was easy. Again, this movie, it makes it real easy to understand that why the cops focused on her boyfriend, because when you see the piano, and I love how the filmmakers show him destroying it and they come back to it. I love that. It's something so simple, and it lets you know, hey, this wasn't for nothing. We're coming back. And they come back to it, and I think once the cops see that piano, they're going, that's our guy. This is our dude. He has that much rage to destroy a piano. What would he do to a woman? And it's easy to come to that, conclusion or theory just on that basis. But what I would say is, he psychotic enough to kill? No, I don't think her boyfriend was psychotic enough to kill. I think he just wanted her soda. I think he wanted her to have the baby so they could have a family together, but again, she was young and so was he, and all those people were young in the sorority house. I like how they had the boyfriend, a concerned boyfriend, whose girlfriend is dead. I like that. But my reasons for thinking Billie is a transvestite is because of Billie's mother. Even though we don't know a lot about her, the one thing I think you could pick up from Billie is that Billie's mother may not have wanted a boy. And often enough times, like I said, back in those days, that was the case. You had if you had one child and that child was a boy or a girl and they didn't want the sex, they didn't want, well, wrong sex, that's not what I wanted. They would make it known to the child eventually. Maybe not, I'm not saying at infant age, no, but when they got older, they would make sure the kid knew, hey, I'm not happy with you being a boy. It's a crazy thing to think that a parent would abuse their kid over, basically, yeah, abuse their kid over their own sex, but they do. And I do think that's there in Black Christmas, definitely in Billie. I think a lot of that's there, especially when he's saying mother and the way he says it. Now, could the killer be just working everybody? Sure, absolutely. The killer could be working everybody and just be as normal as possible. There are those moments in the movie where you don't see Billie for hours on end. And when you're first introduced to Billie, he's coming into the house. He or she, sorry. But I think they did a really good job with a killer. The police, with a killer that the police really didn't know who the killer really was. Again, the police, when you think about Black Christmas, what would the police report on Black Christmas be today? What would the cops report? Oh, we caught the killer. That was the boyfriend. They would write that down because he was dead. He had died. And the thing of it is, who's going to tell him any different? If Billie's still alive, you know. Just think, the only reason they end up finding all those bodies that they found, well, they probably didn't because they didn't search the attic, but because they show I like how they show they take you to the attic, they take you to the little crawl space. It's a beautiful shot sequence at the end where they're showing the girl who's laying there. She's unconscious, the pregnant girl. Now, you can't. By the way, you don't see her baby tummy. She's at the very early stages of pregnancy, so. Which, you know. And they show you her, she's laying there, and everyone's leaving her. The old guy collapses from the shock of it all, and everyone ushers him out like he's the most important person in the room, like he's the president of the United States or something. And I like how they just show her, and they're taking the camera, and they're showing that crawl space. I love that sequence. It's the end sequence to this movie is probably one of my favorite end sequences in a horror movie, even more so than Halloween, because with Halloween you have the score of the music, it's perfect, right? Well, here they're using silence. They're just showing you the shot, and it's dead silence. It's like it's a false calm is what they're doing, and I love that. And I do think, why doesn't Black Christmas get the recognition maybe Halloween does? I think Halloween because, number one, the score. When you think, the first thing I think about Halloween is the score. And really, John Carpenter added that script because, well, they didn't think that the movie was scary enough without one, that it wasn't scary at all without one. Um, but the second thing I think about Halloween is, unlike Black Christmas, Halloween shows its killer off in every way, shape, and form. And I'm not punning that at all. They show you Michael Myers with that mask on, with the coveralls. They show you their killer. And that's something I think I've always taken away from Halloween as well. Halloween, and that's another difference with Friday the 13th, too. Friday the 13th doesn't show its killer off till the end. Friday the 13th, Halloween is showing its killer off throughout the movie. You're seeing Michael Myers in that costume. Now, you don't see Michael's face until the very end of the movie. But as a whole, you see Michael Myers in the costume. And I think that's the two differences really with a movie like Black Christmas, where a killer like Billie could get lost throughout all these other classic horror villains, is because Billie isn't showed off in the way Michael is. Billie, you see his arms. The most you see of Billie is when he or she kills Margaret Kidder's character. And you see his eyes, and he looks crazed. It looks like, I'm like, Jesus, you could tell Billie was not hugged enough as a kid. Don't worry, I'm going to do a second video after this, even though this one's running long. But I think that's the one thing I would say with Black Christmas, where it maybe doesn't get the recognition it deserves, like a Michael Myers and even Billie. Again, is Black Christmas the most perfect horror movie? I think in some ways no, because I think where the censorship hurt this movie is they're talking to you about all these dead girls, and it's weird. They show you the dead bodies in the house, but they don't show you the dead bodies outside of the house too much. What I mean by that is they show you the dead cop, and that's it. But he's in the car when they're standing over a dead body. They just show you they show you it from the dead body's perspective, like the dead body's looking up at the people. And I always thought that was strange, and like, why, like, the body's supposed to, I get it, the body is supposed to be so badly mutilated, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see that body. No, I want to see that body. Me. Show me that, goddammit. But Black Christmas is a 10 overall for a movie that can't be remade perfectly, and it hasn't been. They've tried this twice. Blumhouse failed miserably, and that goes to show you not every movie needs a woke message. Sometimes what Black Christmas should teach you overall, sometimes it's okay to let the killer win and get the hell away with it. And that's what makes Black Christmas so goddamn legendary, because the first thing you mentioned with Black Christmas is Billie got away with it. And that's what makes it so beautiful. Billie got away with it. He got away. So, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on Black Christmas. Did you like it? Is it a movie you love? What do you think in your opinion, is Billie a transvestite? You can say no. You can. It's okay. Alright, guys. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you here real soon.